I'm going to do that. And I think it's kind of, and you just hopped on. Aspen's be coming to an OTOM close to LA on June 16th. So just throwing that out there for you. Okay, so we'll just start. I think there'll be, Kel, you good if we start right now? Okay. So we're just hopping on. You're seeing like kind of the top leaders in our organization going through here. And I think, I messaged you a little bit with it, but what I will say is that most of these people here have built themselves where they are, just looking, when you said something, when you're doing our big team Zoom, you talked about, I didn't enroll a lot, but what I did was I was able to duplicate myself. And that just like resonated big time. I'm like, we need to figure that out. How is that,
Yes.
What are some tricks to that? What did you do? Because we're sitting here realizing, sustainability. You keep and rebuild until people, what I've noticed the most is the people who built themselves are the people who stay in there and with it, and the ones who you kind of maybe quickly build or help or something, it's like they don't ever take it in. So that's
because they might not have any skin in the game sometimes, and some of this, luckily you guys, this Zoom is small enough. I want you to feel like it can be informal. Like if you can think up something to ask me, I always tell people I don't claim to have it all together. I can certainly tell you what worked for me, just kind of based on what I'm like. But it's kind of new to me, this whole just the mass recruiter thing. Because, you have to remember, guys, I built before there was social media. So you were considered a mass recruiter back then. And I make it sound like it was in like old dark 30. Like, no, it was like 6 years ago. But a lot changes with technology. So, but I built, like back then, you would have been considered a mass recruiter if you enrolled maybe 7 people in a month. I mean, like personally, obviously your team would grow more, but that would be a lot, because if you're truly supporting your team part of your time and you're in personal activity, maybe 7 or 8 might have been a good month, which to me, that's still a lot, because when I enroll somebody, part of the art of duplication is they're getting me wholeheartedly. They're on 3-way calls, they don't talk to a prospect without me. I'm on the phone with them. I'm doing the presenting. They're learning my words. They're learning how I close. They're learning how I overcome objections. So to do that for 30 some people, I wouldn't have even known how to do that, nor did I need to. So I focused more on quality versus quantity. And I don't want to act like some people aren't quality. Like we're all, made in the image of God, right? And it's not like I could predict that. Yes, I still enrolled people that I'm like, seriously, are you going to do anything? You still have those moments. It's not like they were all rock stars either. But I really was like, okay, once I got somebody in, and I think when you're not a mass recruiter, you have this mentality of, okay, if I just got you involved, I want to make sure that something happens out of this, for your benefit as well as my own. And I knew that it might be a month before I got that next person, or 2 weeks, or, depended on the season of just my life and business. So I was all about getting in there immediately. And I did see that the people who built themselves, which in my day was the majority of people, because there weren't anyone that I ever knew that was just slamming in people so quickly that they didn't care, And I'm not implying that there are people here doing that, but I'm just saying I could see how if you could enroll 30 people a month, you may not have a sense of urgency to make sure every single person launches, does this, does that. But that's what I was doing. If I would enroll 3 people, everyone was going to get personal conversations with me. I was going to know about their family, their friends, their birthday, like real personal. And I can't remember if I said this on your Zoom or not, because I kind of feel like I didn't, because this experience I think happened after, if my time frame's correct. My son, that's 13, asked me about a month ago, if he goes, Mom, are all your best friends, people that you've met in network marketing. And I was kind of thinking of like my list of my 7 or 8 closest friends. And I thought to myself, yeah, they are. So I was thinking back, my last company ended 6.5 years ago and I started 11 years ago. So a lot of my friends are from that time period. And it really struck me at that moment. I knew I was a relationship person, but I knew how much of a relationship person I was after he said that, because 6.5 years later, when I'm not getting paid off those people anymore, they're not a, distributor ID number on my team, those relationships are there. So that was always my first strategy, was connect with them and really get to know them and build that relationship, because I think that creates loyalty, and then they can really borrow my belief even more. And then, like I said, I was the one that was kind of driving the activity and creating the sense of urgency. And so some of that, I don't know if that's exactly teaching duplication, but it grew my business. It grew my business because I was the one saying, okay, let's get you launched. And then I would go do it. And if they were long distance from me, which I'd say 80% of my team in my first company was long distance from me, which is really weird because it wasn't built through social, but it just kind of happened that way. That I did a party and there happened to be a girl there from out of state and she was the rock star. So it was pouring into those people, building that relationship, but getting in front of their people, because I knew my warm market wasn't huge. And it didn't mean I wasn't working to make it bigger, going to mom's groups and Bible studies and trying to expand it. But I also knew without social media, okay, think back then, you can only grow it so fast. You can't literally go like start holding hands and skipping at the mall with everyone, being like, let's be best friends. Relationships take time. And so I knew that I needed to get in front of other people's people. And that's what I did. And I stuck with them long enough that by the time I needed to go over here, and it didn't mean I couldn't be doing this with 2 or 3 people at a time, but by the time I needed to move, they had some success, they had some wins, they had heard me present so many times, they could speak it, they could do exactly what I did. They knew my systems, they knew how I closed, they knew that our system of you contact people, you present to them, whether that's Party Pad, Facebook Party, or whatever it is, put the wrap on them, and then you follow up, and then you close, and then you do this. They had seen it so many times because I had done that with them. And I had made it very clear, no part of it is optional. Like, you can't leave out presenting. And that doesn't mean it's always the perfect Party Pad, page for page, exact. Like I said, it may be a Facebook party. You might be presenting in a 15-minute Facebook Messenger exchange, right? What's it works? Well, have you heard of this? Tell me about this. Okay, blah, blah, blah. Now the compensation. You're presenting, but it's telling the story. So I would tell people, you can't pick and choose what parts of this you like. And that was my way of being able to identify when someone was kind of stuck in their business. I could identify what the problem was. Is it that you don't have any names? Is it that you don't know how to ask people to look at your business and your product? Is it that you don't know how to tell the story? You don't even really know how to flip the pages and kind of what to say? You get stuck. That's okay. Is it that you don't ever flip to the business page? And that's why you have customers and you sell product, but you won't flip to that page? Is it that you're not able to follow up? Is it that you're not getting them started? So I would use that as my guideline for where is the hang up. So they knew that we do these steps and this is how we do it. It wasn't just go find 5 people to sign up and call me in the morning. It was like, no, I'm going to help you get from that. Because some people instinctively know. If I say, okay, our steps to success is go get 4 customers, 3 distributors. Some people are like, oh, okay, I'll call you tomorrow and I'll do that. Other people are like, well, how am I supposed to do that? And so I made sure they knew.
And I think it could be where a lot of us are on here. The instinctive people, you just go say it. But that would be like, if you were to have somebody, like say you started It Works as a distributor and I joined you, what would be the steps, I guess, that you would give me? Do you have
what would I have?
Like,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What would, if you
Yeah, well, we'd get together either on FaceTime or we'd sit down and I'd want to know just verbally like what your why is. And I would know in the back of my mind that it was probably going to grow and get stronger. Because if you just said yes today at a coffee shop, you're probably like, oh, this bonus looks great, or 500 looks great. And I know it gets bigger, but I want you to start thinking about it. And I'd say, well, who are 3 or 4 people that we can talk to tomorrow? Okay, now you guys have to remember, when I'm teaching you stuff, I don't teach social media just because I don't know it the way that you guys do. So you're going to have to take it and kind of twist it to fit your system. But I'd say, who are 3 or 4 people that we could talk to tomorrow? Well, my mom and my sister, they'd name a couple, and I'd say, okay, well, can you call them up and just say, hey, I'm getting started with this new thing and I'm so excited about it. Would you have time just to visit with me about it for about 10 minutes, 15 minutes? Could I just tell you what I'm doing? Could I talk to you about it? If you're interested, great. If you're not, that's okay. Can I just share it with you? So tweak that, and that could be, would you hop on a Facebook party tonight and just take a look at what I'm doing? So my goal at that stage is just getting people to agree to look at it, because I think the majority of people don't think they're looking. I don't know how many of you guys I've heard say, it works found me. I was just working and never thought I would do this, but somebody got me to listen. Or I kept seeing it on Facebook and I finally, very few people will say, and maybe a couple here and there, like, oh my gosh, I was searching high and low. Very few people are. So I need people to agree to listen, because I also know, if this new distributor, Stacy, I know that if you can get 3 or 4 of your friends just to visit with me for a little bit tomorrow, that they'll do it. They'll be in. They'll be excited. And all of you probably have that ability if you're a leader in this company, that if you're a new person. So I don't really know exactly how to recommend you tweak that for social media. Maybe it's not as easy to get people on the phone these days as it was before. I don't know if you can say, can I shoot her a text message and then voice message back and forth? I actually had a girl tonight say, hey, would you talk to somebody for me? And the girl sent me a text, and I was like voicing her and like, hey, I just want you to know this. So to me, it's just being very simple. Who are a few people? Yes, I'd want you writing 100 names list. Yes, we would go through some of those other steps, and I'm sure that I would teach you how to, announce you on Facebook and do some of that. But at the very basics, I'd want you to start identifying who are a few people you want on your team, your dream team. Who are you going to call and say, please do this with me. We are going to have so much fun. Okay. And then who are a few people you can talk to about the product? Maybe that's too basic. Maybe you're like, oh my gosh, we already know that. But I built my business just being basic and not overthinking it.
Right. Now, would you say possibly hey, send me the list of those names. Not that I'm going to reach out to them, but will you send me those exact names of the people you're thinking of? I want to actually see it.
Yeah. Sometimes I would do that, or they might write it down with me. If we met on a Zoom or a FaceTime or at a coffee shop, I'd say, well, who are you thinking of? And I might jot it down as they're kind of listing that. I'm like, okay, well, do you want help sending a message to that person? Because my goal wouldn't be for them to give the whole spiel themselves.
Yeah.
Okay. It would be to hopefully be a part of that, just because I know sometimes a new person doesn't know what to say. They know enough to scare someone off. And some of you, that might not be you. You might have been very natural at this, and you might have done a great job at calling people, and you got your 5 people signed up right away. Some people can do that, but sometimes a new person, we're talking about the people that maybe aren't like you. We're talking about the people that aren't instinctive, and they call up and go, I'm signing up for this thing, and I think we sell wraps and skincare. And if you sell enough stuff, you can make $37,000 a month, but you have to sell a lot. No one's going to want to do it. So I guess without sounding like I was condescending, because I always believe the best in people, I just instinctively, I thought to myself, 98% of people I'm ever going to sign up have no idea how to do this. And if I framed it that way, I just made sure that I didn't bombard them with BV, PBV, DT, LC, all these, nothing like that. The basics are, I wanted them to be a professional appointment setter. Why? They know people that I don't know. And all we're trying to do, guys, is talk to people about it works. We need to tell them about the product, tell them about the business, and figure out which one they're picking, and then move on to the next person. That's it. Right? Next person. So I don't want them totally overwhelmed with all these other things just yet. Yes, if I was doing this now, I'd want them to know social media. holy smokes, why would you waste that opportunity? It's great. But on a very basic level, it'd be like, people I don't know, and I know how to talk to people because I'm a diamond or whatever. Let's connect up and let me help you. And you've heard it 1,000 times. The best copycat wins. Duplication. Don't reinvent the wheel. And I taught people that. I would say this business is part science, but it's part art. The science is in the numbers. Obviously, you all know you can talk to one person a day for 30 days, or one person a month for 30 months, or one person an hour for the next 30 hours. It's still 30 people. Just decide how quickly you're just going to do it, because you're going to have to talk to them eventually. Okay. And so I would just say that to people. That's the science, but it's not all science. If it was science, there'd be a lot more people at the top, and some of the people at the top that you're like, they don't recruit that many people. The art aspect is what you learn, or what your new teammates are going to learn when they hear you or see you type or post or what. They're learning the art. The art is, how do you overcome objections? The art is, how do you present this party pad in such a way, inserting a couple key phrases throughout it, so that by the end of it, they should be sitting there going, well, I can't think of one good reason not to do this. I got nothing, because you already told me you don't have to be outgoing. You already told me, and you're doing this, the art. You already told me I can be shy. I don't have to know a lot of people. I can post on social, or I don't have to post on social. I don't have to have inventory. It's only $99. And even that I can't use as an excuse, because you told me how in 15 minutes I could sell my 4. Like, literally, they should get to the end of it and go, well, here's my money. I guess we should just go do this, right? Is it always that easy? No. But for the most part, they should have to work really hard to say no, but that's the art. And your new people learn that from you, because they're going to see you present, or see your online parties, or see you post, or see you share. So that was what worked for me, was coming alongside them, not letting them go, not enrolling so many people that I couldn't do that. But at the same time, I was in massive activity. There were a couple months that I remember one September, and I'd have to count back to see how old my kids were to figure out what year it was. But I remember being gone 30 nights in a row. And I had 4 kids at the time. And it wasn't always like that. I probably wouldn't have a husband or kids or anybody in my life if I did that every month, but 30 nights in a row, the whole month of September, and never put my kids to bed. Now, in this day and age with social and technology and FaceTime, it's not probably quite like that, but I was willing to do it for a season, and it exploded my business, and it was getting in front of other people's people.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's so good. Like, yeah, I totally get that. And part of it is what you're saying is getting in front of other people's people. Now, I think what you're saying, and maybe even one of the keys, is a lot of times there's a couple things in here. How do you not drown someone? Does that make sense? I think we might do that. Like some of us lately are like, I got a DT again finally. You know what I mean? Like we went from enrolling, and then now it's like cricket, and then I got someone, and then it's like, you know, I don't know, that little whatever that little, is it Elvira?
Like mother and
I love you. Speed her death. Or, you know, kind of knowing that, but then I think what you're saying too, with me, it's clicking again all over, is just that personal touch.
Yep.
How constant is that personal touch too,
Mm-hmm.
you know?
Yep. And for me, that's a huge part of just who I am as a person. And even people in the field that I'm getting to know just know that, you know, I've said to people, this is so much more than a job to me. Like, I'm making real friendships, and we are talking about kids, you know, even though it's like everybody's my team now, and I am building those relationships. That's just natural. And I think one thing I would just say is it does need to be natural, and it does need to be about them. And I feel like, you know, you've heard people say the confused or the overwhelmed mind is going to shut down. So even if I only sponsored one person in 6 weeks or 8 weeks, I'd still kind of be careful. Let's still just talk to the 3, even though inside I'm screaming, let's go talk to 400 because I got nothing else to do because you're the first person I've enrolled in a long time. I'd still keep it very simple, because I want to get them those early wins, but I also believe you get them involved and then let them evolve. We are so excited. Some of you might say, man, if I had 30 distributors, I might be gone 1 month, for 30 nights in a row. If I had that many people to launch, I would do that. They're not at that place though, where they're willing to go run like crazy. Now, every once in a while, maybe you are going to sign up somebody like that that's just ready to go. But sometimes I just realize getting them in the door and getting them talking to those first few people is the key. And I also feel like every time you sponsor someone, we need to believe that they can go ambassador. You know, we need to pour that life into them and pour that belief, because people will shock you. But sometimes they shock you the other way, and that's hard. I think that's almost harder for me. I'd rather not really know someone was going to do great and they blow up and go, wow, I kind of underestimated you, than those people, you know, if they could see in them what you see and believe what they believe, they would do great. So I had to kind of learn how to always be hopeful and believe and pour that belief, but not get super emotional about it. Because there were times like it, especially at the beginning when I was first starting, where it would beat me down and I'd be frustrated. And I found so much of my time and energy being poured into this one person that it was keeping me from just talking to the next person. So I kind of learned to manage the highs and lows. And I don't want that to sound like I never got really excited about anything I did. But I would say, and I've said it to Cammie and I've heard her sharing it with people, I would not fall in love with their potential. I'd fall in love with their activity. So I really tried to like hold myself back and go, okay, Stacy, I know you've got it. You're, you know, outgoing, you're fun, you're so compassionate and loving. I know you could do great. But inside I had to say things like, but I'm going to be okay if she doesn't. And you know what? Just because I see it, she's got to kind of own this for herself and see it too. So I would manage that a little bit. So Stacy, if you decided not to do anything for a year, it wasn't going to derail my belief and keep me from going. So I almost had to just kind of level out a little bit with some of that and not put all my eggs in one basket, but knowing at any moment, one person could explode the whole thing.
Yeah.
Does anyone have questions? I'm not even looking at the chat. You probably asked me a bunch of things and I have no idea.
I don't know how many, but I was going to say, yeah, guys, ask some questions as she's going. I don't know if y'all are being shy. Or
I like that idea about the messenger video. Can you have more than one person on that messenger video? You can? I've never done that before. Have all of you guys done that?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Maybe you can't all see it. I don't know if that's just sent to me or not. Yeah. So messenger video, because not everyone has Zoom or understands. I like that.
Mm-hmm.
I like that idea. I'll have to check into that. That's great. Does anyone have a question? Or Stacy, do you have another question for me?
I'm just kind of, I'll wait for a second. Yeah.
Okay. The thing that keeps going through my mind right now as you're talking is, and this happens to me all the time, I get so motivated. I think everybody on here probably, we see ourselves as ambassador. That's like, you know, non-negotiable. And so we work every day diligently in our business to do that. So we see the top. And, but not everybody gets in this business to go to the top. They do literally get in to make a few $100s because ambassador scares them. I find a hard time balancing my excitement to inspire and drive people to, you know, want what I want and work the way I work, because I think that some people get scared off by that. And then sometimes I'm hesitant to do that, and I just talk about the few $100s, and people don't take it as, they don't take it as seriously. I don't really know. I don't know how to.
No,
I don't know what.
I see what you're saying, because sometimes it is scary when you start throwing big numbers out there. There's a lot of people that can't see past Ruby or Emerald on that chart. They just can't see that for themselves. And there's other people that I've had say to me, like, don't even talk to me about Ruby or Emerald, because that I want to go so far beyond that. So I think a couple things. One is, it goes back to kind of reworking that why as they go. You know, once they get to Ruby, if that's really what they got in for, then it's time to kind of say, but you've got 3 people on your team that also want Ruby. You know, pouring that, let's see who else we can help go to that place. You know, just because we're incentivized to build more rubies, right? My first company wasn't like that. You signed up everybody on your front line. So you were never really, I mean, you helped your team and you poured into them, you needed the volume, but I wouldn't have needed anybody to ever promote to be at the top rank, ever. It was all volume. That's what's so cool about this is it's not like that. You've got to help people. So the first thing I would say is there's room for people that only, and not, I shouldn't say only, Ruby's awesome, but only want to be a Ruby. There are room for people like that in this company. And those people might lead you to someone who wants more. It's why we see so many ambassadors that say, well, yeah, my upline is a Ruby and then she's a double diamond and these 3 people quit. And then, there's such a chain of events on up because not everyone wants that. So for me, it goes back to keep building a relationship and helping them dream bigger, seeing that, okay, now that you can buy whatever you want at the grocery store, who could we bless with the same thing? Who could we help go Ruby and get that same thing and still try to get in front of their people? Maybe they lead you to someone who wants that even bigger, or you love them right where they're at. And it's that next person you enroll that decides they're ready, to go further. Cause I think you just never know who that's going to be. I've probably told you about my Kentucky story when I signed up for my last company and boom, a third of the company was on my team. Not knowing that this crazy mother that drove that far was going to sign up and do something like that. One person can totally change your business. So I don't know if that really answers your question, but we can't make them want it. We can help cast that vision. We can help show them how they could help other people or help them dream bigger or hope they lead us to someone that maybe does want more. And sometimes that inspires them to want more when they see a little bit of a fire burning down below going, wait a second. This could be bigger. Does anyone else maybe have an idea for that? Stacey, have you had that?
Yeah, I think just learning, I've had to learn, and what I've told people a lot is now, through it with my new DTs, I'm like, okay, so what are your goals right now? Like, what do you see? So then I know in my head what they're seeing so I can help them reach those first goals, but I can still run and not be emotionally, like what you're saying, not be emotionally attached. So I always what are your goals right now? And you know what? Those goals can always change. And I'm okay with that. And if you're okay with that, but then I know their goals. So I know, and then and then I will always say, let me know if I'm overwhelming you, or let me know if I'm not giving you enough. That's what I've been saying lately with my last few people, just trying to set an expectation that, I can change, they can change their pace. I'm still going to go my pace. And so that's what I've been doing at the beginning, is trying to figure out where they're trying to go.
Yeah. I like that a lot. And I think that's important to say too, especially when we talk about these bonuses. I'll say to people, I'll walk with you if that's what you want to do. If you want to walk to your goals, then I'll walk right beside you, match your efforts. If you want to jog a little bit towards your goals and you want to jog towards some of these go bonuses and you want to work towards going diamond, in 6 months, then I'm going to jog alongside you. And if you want to run, I'm going to do that too. But this is up to you. And we have a lot of people in this company that are running for a $10,000 bonus, jogging for a $5,000 bonus. And I know that sounds great, but if right now that scares you and that's not something that you're ready to do and you want to focus on Ruby, I want you to know that that's okay, because that's a great paycheck. And Ruby income changes a lot of people's lives, because I think sometimes they feel like, wow, I just thought we were meeting for coffee and you wanted to tell me a little bit about what you're doing. I've never even heard of a place where you could earn a $10,000 bonus. I don't know that yet. Of course, some people are going to sit there and go, no, I don't want to jog. I want to sprint. Let's go. But I think that is a nice way of taking some of that pressure off. And you're subtly overcoming an objection when you do that. Because an objection could be, I don't have time. I don't know if I believe that I could do that. I don't know if I'm ready to run. They don't know how you just start figuring out how to fit it in your life. So I think by saying, well, you can run and go fast, or, you can share it, because that goes back to they're going to get involved and then they'll evolve a little bit. And a week or two in, after you've helped them talk to those first 3 or 4 people, send messages, post and do some of that. Hopefully, if you're building that relationship and pouring that belief even faster than 2 weeks, they might have then gone, okay, I guess I want that now. I'd hate to lose someone just because I was painting this, let's go race and go hurry. But I want them to know I'm willing to hurry alongside them if that's what they want. I think that's good.
Awesome.
Cal, you have any questions? She's talking.
I did have one, and I'm trying to remember now what it was. It was right before Tiffany. I was like, but I don't remember at the moment.
I know, like, so say you're an emerald, you know, and you've built a ruby and you're kind of wanting that ruby to take a little bit of ownership. What are some suggestions you would go through?
Let's see. Let me see if I could think of anything that I haven't already said, because I keep it so stinking simple. Pouring belief into them. Are your rubies leaders? I mean, do you feel like your rubies are out there doing the do? Are they doing 1/3, 1/3, 1/3? Are they still in a lot of personal activity?
I think
some of them
that my ruby leaders are, I think that their ruby leader. Does that make sense? Like, I think maybe who they would be putting in those places, they've done so much of that work on their own that now it's like, it's not sustainable to move forward. Mm-hmm. Does that make sense? And so
yep. And I've always kind of wondered that. This is a little bit of a side note, but along the same lines of when people are being placed and placed and placed, is there someone above that is reaching down? Because I'd be going, that's a lot of people to be falling off and not knowing. To me, I would be, without stepping on toes and making people mad, I'd make sure that the team stayed big. You know, I'd make sure that it stayed where I was connected with those people. Because, you know, as sad as it is, sometimes someone doesn't connect super well with their immediate enroller, but a couple levels up, they might see someone. And I know that that can get really hard sometimes, but I welcomed it. You know, if somebody could connect with someone above, and that was going to keep them inspired and coming in. So I was never super like, this is my team, don't talk to them. I didn't want anyone to teach them anything that wasn't, you know, our system or whatever. But I loved people pouring into my team. And if they were connected up, any connection, the deeper those connections can be, that's part of our team's job. Getting people to connect with us, you know, getting Cami out there more, because I know so many of you just are inspired by her, getting that connection and keeping people rooted in that place. I think pouring some belief into those rubies, you know, strategizing with them, including them in things, you know, making it exciting to go ruby, just like in the company, we make it exciting to go, you know, diamond and triple and some of that, you know, pouring that belief into their leadership abilities. I don't know that I'd be letting them go run off on their own and do a bunch of team you know, I'd still want to keep the group close enough, but also recognizing that the truth of this business is we don't know which in that ruby structure are going to stick. And so I'd be holding close to those people as long as I could. And I'd want to get in front of those areas, you know, or excuse me, their markets. I was reading this, I'm reading in the chat at the same time, you know, I'd want to still get in front of some of their people, you know, bring them, you know, have them at events. I don't know how much time you guys spend with your rubies, but I don't know, they've done a lot of work to get there, but it is a pretty big jump to emerald, helping them identify and helping them realize that maybe it's not the 3 people in their ruby structure that are going to all still be sticking there for the next jump. Because that's a pretty big jump, getting yourself there and then getting 2 more people there. I think just making sure they're staying in that personal.
On our Zoom tonight, that probably one of the hardest jumps in this business is from ruby to emerald.
That's what I'm noticing as I'm finally like memorizing the charts going, that's a big one.
That's way more than doubling.
And then it doesn't seem like it's that hard to go diamond, is it? From emerald to diamond, is it?
No. It's hard because I think because you make that emerald step, so you're like, what? I just did it. All I need to do is build 1 more ruby. I can do that. You know, like, but I think from that ruby, it's like I am ruby, not have to build 2 ruby. That's where a lot of people, and that's where I'm wondering, where's the duplication, I guess, in helping those people really believe and see, you know, what I would say in the organization that's under me, that's where I get stuck.
Mm-hmm. And I don't know, like, if you guys can analyze your own business, because I haven't seen this statistic, but I'd be really curious, because to me, if I was building all belly to belly and pretend I hadn't done this before, where I would probably go get 3 builders right away that I was like, let's go do this. Okay. So just pretend I was like just starting fresh. How often are those 3 legs you've got going Ruby like legitimately really good builders? Sometimes probably. But if they're random, like internet people that we don't know that well, and no offense if you guys are random internet people, you're amazing, okay? But I'm just saying, if they're random people that saw a Facebook ad and got thrown in, like, I think I don't like to use the word luck very often, but I think if you happen to be one of those people that goes Ruby and it was legitimately 3 of your friends that were like, game on, let's go, Emerald wouldn't be hard. But if those are 3 people that you put in, that it's your mom and your sister and your cousin's neighbor's best friend that just did it because you said, please do it, I want to be Ruby so bad. Well, then they might not almost even count, like a little bit, where it might be, you don't even have the runners you need just yet to go Emerald, but you know what? Ruby built your belief and you showed your Facebook friends that you can do it, but it's time to go get a couple runners and start plugging them in. So I'm wondering if that's where some of the breakdown is I think almost anybody can go grab 3 people over the first few weeks. And maybe I'm simplifying it. Maybe it's way harder, and get a few distributors in just because they're like, okay, I'll do it. But it might take a little bit longer to get the 2 that can actually, go Ruby. And, even those 2 400 boxes on your front line, I'm sure for a brand new person, that's a jump. So I think just even teaching those Rubies, okay, it's time to dig deep. We need to go. And it's going to probably just take a few more people than you were thinking to get this going. But if they're lucky, they get a couple runners right away. It's hard to say. But it's the science. We just got to keep flipping those cards in the deck and just keep doing it and hope that I don't want to teach people that it's easy either. I don't like to make them think it's super, super hard, right? Because we get them involved and then they kind of like, we drip on, okay, it is going to take the work. But at the same time, I want people who are willing to put in some time and effort to it. So, the chat's lit up.
Yeah.
I have a question.
Yeah, okay, good.
Okay. So this is more like just an Aspen personal question, I guess. But my question would just be, so for me and I know a lot of people on here, I've never done anything like this before, right? So here I am, and I'm enrolling people and talking to like a girl today. She's never done anything like this, so she's nervous about it, whatever. And so where did I would love to know what color you are. I mean, to go to the top of 2 companies, I'm like, can I just get to the top of 1? Right?
Oh, I love you, Kelly.
Yeah. And I'm just sorry, and I have a sleeping sick baby in my room. But so my question is just, what did you do to, I guess, encourage yourself? And I know we talk about self-development, but is there anything specific that you would say that really made you go, no way, dude, I can totally do this? And like, then how did you reinforce that when it got kind of hard, or, you were building and then it's not, the momentum's not there, and then you're rebuilding, and then do you know what I'm saying? Like in your journey. Mm-hmm. Oops, I need her in the head.
And this isn't the new baby. Isn't there one still in your belly?
Yeah. Uh-oh.
You didn't need a newborn, just a small child. Okay, we're good. Okay.
Yeah, no.
I feel like she disappeared. Does anybody see her?
But it's being recorded, so you can still answer her question.
Okay. Well, I never had done this before, like she said. To answer the color question, I had never taken that personality test. As a school teacher, we had taken several and several at school. So Cammie sent me the link and said, I want you to take this thing. It was during my interview process. And it came back, and every single one was exactly 62, 62, 62, 62. And I was like, oh no, I am boring. this is not good. I'm like, does this mean you're boring? Like if you don't shine in any area. And so I was scared to give it to her, and I sent her a screenshot. I was like, okay, I don't know if this Kelly's back. I don't know what this means. And so I'm totally a rainbow, and I know lots of people think they are. It really did come back that way. I'm a firstborn girl. I've got several sisters. So I'm the type A, oldest, 4.0 student. When I say I'm going to do something, I do it. But I'm the green, and Cami loves that. I'm the organized, okay, let's have a system. Let's have a chart. Let's have a checklist. Let's check this out. I want to know the compensation. I want to understand. I've got the blue that's like, oh my gosh, let's go out. Let's have a good time. Let's go dance. Let's hang out with friends. Let's do get-togethers at our house. And I'm definitely the yellow, and it's the yellow that's the part of me that wants this so bad for everybody else. It's the yellow that even with my job makes me want to connect with everyone and build that relationship. So that's the biggest piece. I didn't have a, she had signed up 15 minutes before me. She was not a natural at all. I literally opened the box, and it had a workbook in it that was called the Start Now Workbook. And it told you how to write down your names list. It told you how to create a why. And it had little cheesy scripts for how to call people and book parties. And I think the thing that made me do it was, number one, I do have some red where it's like, if I'm going to do it, but it was the cleaning business. I was cleaning toilets with a colicky newborn strapped to my chest and sitting a 1-year-old and a 3-year-old on the couch, hoping that they didn't touch anything while I cleaned this house, because it defeated the purpose to have somebody watch them. You know, it was like, why would I pay someone to watch them so I could go make $30 or $60? And so I just wanted out, and it wasn't an option for me to go back to work. And I just was willing to do it. You know, and I don't know, I feel like I wish I had something magical, but that's what got me through the tough times. And don't get me wrong, in my first company, even though I was successful, I learned a lot. It was a primarily women-based company, which, I mean, it works, has a lot of women as well. And I was 26 or 27 years old, and it was a bunch of women, and there was drama. You know, there were people talking about this. I learned a lot about being a leader, and like, okay, you say this, you don't. So it wasn't always a bed of roses. There were definitely months where I felt like I wasn't duplicating, where it felt like, even my husband thought that. He's like, I feel like you're doing all the work, you know, because there wasn't a lot of residual. Okay. My second company, I had grown, and it was 50% men, 50% women, which helped a lot. It just was, you know, had different challenges, but it helped having it be structured that way. So I just had such a big why. That's why you hear me talk about that so much. I could cry talking about it, that I just was willing to do whatever it took. And I found people like that too. Not all of them wanted it, but I did find people that said, I'll do whatever it takes to make this happen.
I know we're on different time zones. I know we said we'd be 30 minutes. Can you expand on the steps you take getting Nudie Tea started? You started by asking them if they were what would the first
Yep.
look like?
Yep. I would get them signed up. I would basically make sure I've connected with them. If there's someone I already know, then I don't have to do a ton of connecting. I would drip little bits about how it works. I'd make sure very briefly they understood, you know, we're building a network of consumers, make sure they kind of understand the gist of what we're doing. But then really the first week, I just do a lot of pouring in belief, make it fun. Oh my gosh, we're going to have so much fun together. I'm so excited. And it doesn't have to be blue, like all blue party fun. Just keep it very lighthearted, because I know that they're going to slightly be second guessing in themselves a couple nights that first week going, what have I just done? So I'm going to train you. I'm going to coach you. We've got a great system. You know, I love coming alongside people. I can't wait to partner people up with you. You're going to, you know, I would be pouring that belief and those kinds of things into them. And it would be very basic. I just want to know the first few people that we can talk to who are the first few people. And can we talk to them tonight? You know, do you want to talk to them this afternoon? How about in the morning? Let's just chat with them. And then I would tell them kind of what to say. And if they're sending a message, it would probably be one way. My instincts are always, you know, send them a phone call or send them a voice message. Hey, I would love to talk to you about this. So coach them a little bit on what to say and how to not say too much. Say you're going to be earning while you're learning, or learning while you're earning. We're going to get you going. I'd probably drip at that point a little bit about fast starts, because I wouldn't have probably said that in my presentation. I'd say every time you enroll a distributor, you're going to get a first, and you get your first, 2 customers within 30 days and get your auto ship running, you're going to make $100. Oh, okay. So planting little seeds and giving them chunks of information as they can handle it. But really, like I said earlier, all I want week 1 is for them to just start getting me in front of people, or getting them on, on an online party or to a wrap party. If you do parties in person, if they're coming to a party, they need to know how to invite to it and kind of what it's going to look like, and stepping them through that. Now, I then gauge off of their excitement as well. If they're hungry for more, I carefully give it to them. Oh, here's you want more info on greens. Based on color personality, you're going to know, are they kind of hungry for a little more product information? It's not like I want you to withhold everything, but what's the basics of what you need? If you guys all sign a distributor tomorrow, what do you need her to do? She needs to start talking to people. Like, we need to go get 3 distributors and 4 customers right away, right? So how does she do that? She's going to have to send out a text, a voice message, or make a few phone calls. So that's the basics, and everything else you're just going to give in little tiny bits and step them through it. And she's going to learn so much if you're the one doing the talking at the party, if it's your Facebook party that you've put together, if you're getting on a 3-way call or a Facebook Messenger video chat, or on the phone, or you're going to Starbucks with her. She's going to learn by watching you present. So that's all I would do right at the beginning. Get them thinking about their why. And obviously, like Stacy said, the very beginning needs to be, which of these numbers on this chart, would change your life? What would you like to aim for? What would you like to focus on as your first goal? And they'll say ruby or diamond or the whole thing, whatever their thing's going to be, having that in mind. But getting them not overwhelmed, because them shutting down does nothing for anybody, right? So, and maybe people don't shut down like that anymore, but they used to. They'd get overwhelmed and go, wait a second. They'd get scared and think they don't have time for it and they can't do it.
Okay. That's awesome. Okay. 2 more questions. One, just closing a deal. One tip to closing someone. I feel like we have a lot of people on here that I have people ready to sign up. What is one quick, make sure you
ask them a question on a scale of 0 to 10. 0 meaning you never want to see me again because you hate everything about me and it works, or something like that. And 10 being your credit card is in your hand and you're throwing it at me because you want to be on my team. Where are you at? Something like that. So then they're going to say 7 or 8. Okay. And then you're going to say, okay, what question or 2 could I answer that would help you go from a 7 to a 10 and have you be ready? Like, where are we at? And I tested that out. I have a presidential in my region that's in Texas, enrolled a girl in Omaha, which is an hour and a half for me. And I said, when I happened to be talking to the presidential, and she told me that, I was like, well, I'll go launch her for you. I've never launched somebody in this company before. So I went, and that exact thing happened at that party. This girl sitting there was so stinking excited. Like, oh my gosh, the system, that should be called the Good Pack. That is a good pack. And I was like, we should rename it the Good Pack. Everybody get on the Good Pack. I mean, this girl, I said, seriously, if you don't sign up for this business, I have one favor to ask. This girl's a new distributor. Could you go to all her parties? Because everybody needs a customer like you or a friend like you sitting there going, greens? Oh my gosh, greens. Like, she gushed about everything. So we get to the end. And I'm like, why are you not doing this? Like, what's wrong with you? Like, a little bit, I kind of said that. But I basically did that from 0 to 10. Where are you at? She said 8. And I was like, okay, well, what could I answer or what could I say to you that would help you go from an 8 to 10 so that you'll join her team? And the piece for this particular girl was she was scared of posting on social media. It kind of freaked her out thinking that she'd have to do that. And I said, don't do that. you don't have to do that then. If that's not, because I know in my mind, people are going to evolve with social media, right? When you start building it and you get excited, it's like, okay, that's game on. But I'm just like, okay, well, then this is how we build without social. So I think sometimes it's just asking them that. It makes them realize that they are kind of almost there. And if they tell you a 2, that is your clue to probably go low customer route for now, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's a 2. I'm just really not, I don't want to do it. There's probably not much you could say at that appointment that gets them there. So that's how I would close. What's 1 or 2 questions I could answer that would take you from a 7 to a 10 or an 8 to a 10? And then it gets them analyzing what's the holdup.
Yeah.
And if they say, I don't know, say, you know what? Well, maybe you accidentally said 8 and you meant to say 10 because I don't think you have any questions. No, keep it fun. Keep it fun to be excited. Be someone they want to join with.
Yeah.
Like people might pay $99 just because they get to hang out with you. And then they'll realize later they're going to make money at it too. But you make it so fun that they just want to be a part of it.
That's so blue. Okay, and then Kalani just asked the green in you, what suggestion would you give for someone who doesn't have any green at all to stay organized, to stay consistent in the business?
I'd just keep your list with you. I'd keep a list with you. If you're super green, make spreadsheets and all that stuff that I probably should know how to do as a school teacher, but I don't spend a ton of time doing that. I keep a note in my phone, or in the old days, a sticky note on the rearview mirror of my car with names on it. Okay. I've got a planner, like I said, put names in my phone and just keep a list of who I've actually talked to and who I'm planning to talk to. Keep Blitz cards with you if you're a Blitzer. I heard someone say last night, and I thought it was great. She goes, I don't use a Blitz card if I have a chance to actually engage and actually have a conversation. The Blitz cards is just my last resort when I'm literally driving out of the drive-thru and have to hand it really quick before the car rear ends me behind me. But she goes, I just connect, but I think having those with you, at all times, and just kind of being prepared, have a nice little tote with what you need so that if someone asked you, I heard a girl on another team page said the other day, someone flagged her down at, I don't know if it was a gas station or what, and said, I see you are wearing it works. Do you have a wrap on you right now? I need it. I've seen this on Facebook and I don't know who's posting about it, but I need one. And the girl was like, yeah. So she sold her the wrap for $25 and signed her up as an LC from her phone and left. And I was like, I need to start taking wraps on me so I can be like, here's a wrap. Go, girl. Because if someone wants it that bad. So just be prepared, but don't overthink it, especially in the summer. You just really need to know who's on your list for the summer. I'd start with teachers this summer. So especially ones that are teaching summer school. Yeah, they're a little busy, but they're doing it usually because they need extra money.
Yep. I know. I just had a friend say that. She's like, I'm teaching extra so we can go on a summer vacation. And I'm like,
yep.
You're ready to join me.
Exactly. And you guys, I know it's late. So if you've got other thoughts, you can always send me a voice message on Facebook. Stacy knows that. We can chat back and forth other times, or we can do this again and visit. I would love to just get to know you guys, more personally too. So if you ever need anything, you can reach out.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Aspen. We're so appreciative of you and just being willing to be out here with us. And like you said, you're yellow, getting to know us all a little better.
Hey, Celeste, you could send me a message and I can send you the link if you haven't taken that color personality test. And then you could take it and see what you are, because it does kind of help. It does help.
Yeah.
So, okay. Well, I'll hop off. You guys have a good night. Send me any messages if you have more questions, okay?
Yeah. Thank you so much. We really appreciate
it. You're welcome. Have a great week.
Okay. All right, y'all. It's recorded. Cal, you want to say anything on here?
No, I'm good.
Okay. All right. Love you guys. Let's do this. We are going. We're making those jumps. So you can do it. Whatever you think you can't do, you can do it. I love y'all. Night.